to the substance of what Honorable Senator Sifuna was speaking about. Sifuna was saying that if you look at the Constitution of Kenya today, Kenyan people have expectation of a government of the day. And they're saying that when that government betrays them, they can now invoke Article 1 of the Constitution, where that all sovereign power and authority vests in the people to exercise it directly or indirectly through the elected representatives. Okay. You've got elected representatives here, including Honorable Nyamita, who actually is betraying the people of Uriri because he is not calling the government into account on the killings, on whatever. He is trying to justify, oh, this Uhuru Kenyatta did the same thing, or killings happened under Uhuru Kenyatta, or Matiang'i and what. Listen, that's inconsequential. Those people are not in government today. The people who are in government today must account to us as the people of Kenya. Okay. Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya is absolutely crystal clear on accountability, transparency, and all that. Yeah. So, when Kenyans are saying, and I agree with Sifuna, Sifuna is saying the people of Kenya today are saying they have lost confidence in the current government and the presidency. So we are invoking Article 1. And that's why you see when Kenyans go on the street to talk about demonstration under Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya, they are saying actually we don't want you anymore. And therefore this argument of one term should not even be a discussion. It should be now. Is the people of Kenya are saying today we have lost confidence in this government, and the president himself has actually come out to say, okay, you guys want me to go, how do you want me to go? And we are telling him, oh, but the Constitution is very clear. Yeah. You can actually resign. But it's not just the how, he's also asked that what are the other alternatives to the policies that are put in place. Correct. Somebody tell him that on education I'll do this differently, on economy I'll do this differently, on jobs I'll do this differently. Isn't that a valid argument? Well, tell me which party is going wrong and what your alternative is. Actually, Trevor, in fact, that's an admission of liability on the part of the president. That my policies on education, on health, employment, whatever, have failed. So let a different regime come in to actually implement those. It's an admission. That is not how we put it. No, that's not what he's saying. What my policies are. Well, isn't that a valid argument? You're the one who's saying that we elevate the conversation. Instead of just calling for his removal, what are the alternatives? And not the personality alternatives. I think Honorable Sifuna summarized it. Yeah. The alternative is to remove this government. Now. That cannot be without now. First, that's the first thing. Yes, let a different government come in. Which the president is now saying is akin to a wash scandal. No, it's not. It's not wash. What is wash? I mean, after all... That's what the president said. You want us to play that soundbite? Well, you can play. I mean, I've watched it. But, Trevor, when people call for your resignation, Kwani, you want to tell me that today, if President William Ruto is not president, Kenya will collapse? Let's bring up that soundbite from the president. Kenya will not collapse.
Ruto to know that his removal from office is a national priority agenda. It is the only agenda, because his government is totally opposed to everything that this constitution stands for. And I want these people to be bold. Don't be bullied. You don't have to. He wants to push you into a corner where you're discussing markets. Tell Albert Ojwang about markets and roads. In my ranking, removing Ruto is top. It's even higher than getting a second terminal at JKI or dualing Malaba to Mombasa. My view about 2027 is that there will be no room for sentiment. The project of removing William Ruto does not allow for sentiment.
In fact, yesterday on this very TV station, the crocodile came out and told us the alligator is sick. That is Edwin Sifuna. There's a signatory to the 10-point agenda. A signatory came out and told us what we signed that we are going to do is not happening. Then on the same breath, we are still proposing that you have a conclave. I mean, if that which was signed last year, is not being implemented.
This year, early this year.
It was early this year. Is not being implemented. If anything, we now have more deaths this year than we had last year. What conclave, what conversation are you having with the people? You're not. So it means that is an elite conversation, politicians sitting down to discuss their issues. But what we have in this country, what we have is an agitation by the people that for the first time we are going to break the system. This colonial old system that has superintended itself over us from the time of the Mzungu colonialist to present day. That system is what is being rejected. And if you ask about, for example, the cross-Atlantic babs between Gachagua and Ruto, what's the difference? Again, legacy politicians throwing babs at each other. Kenyans don't care about what Rigathi Gachagua says or what William Ruto says to Rigathi Gachagua. Kenyans care about joblessness, the high cost of living, the escalating cost of healthcare system, the failed university funding model. So those are the things that Kenyans want to discuss. And the system is trying to perpetuate itself by trying to control the political narrative to be about them. The children of the system want to be the ones to compete and to occupy these positions. They don't want the Kenyans to have a genuine conversation that will give them a leader.
But Willis, Kenya is not a monarchy, it's a democracy.
It's not a monarchy, but what they are doing, they are trying to control the political narrative. You suppress the issue that Kenya is agitating about and try to force, for example, a Gachagua or a Matiang'i or a Kalonzo to be the face of that which Kenyan people are agitating for, and then provide a competition between one side and the other. But they're all the same. As it is, and we've said this before, look at Gachagua, look at Kalonzo, look at Martha. Those were all deputies at one time. Look at Raila, look at Ruto, those were running for president. Now the deputies on one side.
See a politician speak, they speak to the audience. And that audience might not be you. So first of all, Sifuna in that show said he's going to defend his seat in Nairobi. You need to ask yourself, for Sifuna to get his seat, who is his audience? And therefore then you would understand from where he also is coming from. So his audience of Nairobi and the demographics around here, he has to appeal to it. At the same time, Sifuna then portrays himself as someone who does not have conscience. Because if you didn't believe in the MOU in the first place, you're the Secretary General, why sign it? If you don't believe in the association, simply bolt out. It's simple. I heard the party leader also speak about last week, and he said very well that this association, if we have to find a way, because the only way to remove the president, if he were to be removed, is only through the ballot, and that is in 2027. We must have a country until that particular point, and if we are to remove him, we have to remove him for a valid reason. That valid reason, Sifuna did not give it on that day. He actually said that, removing Ruto is a national agenda.
National priority.
He said removing Ruto is a national priority that that is higher than dueling Nairobi Malava Busia border, the road, and I don't blame him. Sifuna is a senator for Nairobi, where all the roads are available. He can only complain about potholes. Sifuna is a senator for Nairobi, where there is water. He can only complain about water points, but there is water. For some of us who have lived in the countryside, and that's why maybe Sifuna found it very difficult to survive in the politics of the village, because there, when we talk about roads, there are no roads in the first place, even to have potholes. So potholes is a new word. Watering points is not even anything to talk about, because there is no water to start with. So if we see a government that is attempting to do some of those things, I can tell you the things that that government is doing will become priority for us.
Nyamita forgets where it all emanated from, because it emanated from him when he said the speech. Sifuna is speaking the way he is, because he has enough roads and enough, water projects in Nairobi. And so I was telling him, so he said he insinuated that they're supporting government in order for them, he insinuated that they cannot criticize government like Sifuna because they are getting water and roads. It is him that said that. So I was saying, if you are getting water and roads, in exchange of silence. No, but he's the one who said that Sifuna is speaking that way because he does not need projects in Nairobi where he's elected. Insinuating therefore that they are keeping quiet and silent when a violation of human rights is being perpetrated by this government because they are receiving water and roads. And so I said, then it is a bribe in exchange for your silence. That is what I had said. But Honorable Nyamita is twisting it to suit his particular narrative of supporting government because of maybe even personal gain, sorry to say so. So we must conclude that matter. But let him not, let viewers not, go with it like I'm the one who started the issue of bribery. It is what Honorable Nyamita insinuated here. So finally, he has also done some injustice to the second deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua and Matiang'i, by saying that they cannot be options to President Ruto because they also violated human rights at one particular point in time. Just to remind Honorable Nyamita, Ruto is president today. Matiang'i has never been president. Rigathi Gachagua has never been president. So you cannot compare somebody who actually has the power of the presidency to people who operated at very low levels, in the periods and at the different presidency. So you just can't compare. It would be unfair to compare somebody who is in head of government and controlling all the security, agencies and every other agency that there is in this country to somebody like Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, who only was a DO that time. Then you are comparing the two. It would be unfair. I mean, it would only be fair, and I want to challenge Honorable Nyamita, give the presidency to Rigathi Gachagua, then after some time, now compare his presidency to that of Ruto. That will be a fair comparison. Of President Ruto saying that, and Honorable Nyamita is saying that you'll never get that answer. I have it myself. The issue of President Ruto saying that, fine, you're saying I need to go, but what options are you bringing on the table? It is not for President Ruto to ask us what options we have. We have presented our options to Kenyans. It is Kenyans to decide. President Ruto does not have to validate our options that we are bringing on the table. We are presenting them to Kenyans.
But what are those options?
What are those options?
Those options
are listening.
Those options are there. There are many. We are saying, for example, he's, he prides in, sending very many Kenyan youth out there to do some jobs that are not very respectable. And this is common knowledge to everybody. So we are saying we need to change our economy. How do we change it? So that we can also import labor, by the way. So we can have...
How? Give
me time.
Let him explain.
Why don't you learn? I don't interrupt anybody. I feel very bad when somebody interrupts me.
They're listening to you.
Yes. So we can be able to create enough jobs for Kenyans and also import labor. How can we do that? We can, for example, work on the cost of power. Everybody knows that why we have a very high cost of power and therefore low productivity, because the cost of production is high, is basically because of the cost of power. We have IPPs, people in the independent power producers, who of course charge a lot, when they supply to Kenya Power. Why can't we invest more in power generation instead of these empowerment programs that we are having of giving that one women 2,000, having made them stay there the whole day? Why don't we put this money into higher power generation to bring the cost of production down, so that then our industries can produce more, employ more people? Why don't we why don't we build dams and make sure that in Ukambani, vast regions, for example, that are arable but do not have water, why don't we, for example, make sure that there is irrigation in Ukambani, there is irrigation in northeastern, in the arable because they are expansive parts of land, so that we can, like Israel, we can also even start, exporting even the foodstuffs. Why don't we put more money in the Youth Enterprise Fund instead of saying that we are buying youth boda boda, which we carry to the next empowerment engagement because they don't actually come to the youths? Why don't we put more money into the Youth Enterprise Fund? And I know they are listening keenly because why President Ruto is challenging us every day is because he wants to scout for ideas from us. And today I've just decided to be generous to him. I mean, we should actually bring these ideas when they come to government. But because I love this country, let President Ruto benefit from my wise counsel on how we can develop this country. I mean, and we can be able to build this country through, especially through reducing the cost of production. You know, Trevor, why do we continue overtaxing oil products? Yeah. We can reduce these taxes, and by so doing, then we will have, reduced again the cost of production and transportation, and that way the economy will start generating. We must also reduce, domestic borrowing, because this is what taking interest rates, making them shoot over through the roof. Yeah. And therefore, people don't have a business, people do not have enough funds to operate businesses. There are many things that can be done, but they cannot be done when President Ruto is in office. That is why our priority program and project is removing him, so that we can get space to implement this.
Hi Kenyans, mi sina maneno mingi. All I want to say is Ruto must go, like yesterday. Bye.
Enyewe Ruto must go. Enyewe Ruto must go. By the way, Ruto must go. Enyewe Ruto must go. Wash-fire, Ruto must go. Enyewe Ruto must go. By the way, Ruto must go.